We are going to continue practicing the boxes and bullets format today, and we're going to do two. First of all, I'm going to go through one, and then you'll watch me again go through the process, and then you will be completing your own independent boxes and bullets format. Both of the boxes and bullets templates we're going to work with today deal with the short story, or the picture book rather, that we read on Monday called The Junkyard Wonders by Patricia Polacco. So first step when we go through this process, the first step is always to do the do-what strategy. So you need to go up and make sure that you know what you're doing. Okay, so you look for those do words, you look for your verbs, and I'm going to highlight them in yellow so that I know what they are. Okay, so write is a verb, it's something we can do. Let me go back. Explain is a verb, so I'm doing the do-what strategy just so I make sure that I'm including all of the pieces that are necessary, and then I understand what the prompt is before I start writing. Okay, so notice that most of these verbs come toward the beginning of the sentence, so those are going to be my do words. I need to write, I need to explain, I need to talk, I need to use. Now I need to go back and I need to figure out, okay, so I need to write. Literally, what am I writing? Okay, so now I'm going to go up and I'm writing a short essay. So for me, change the color of that so it stands out a little bit. I'm writing a short essay. All right, and I'm explaining. What am I explaining? I'm explaining why Patricia Polacco chose to call the book The Junkyard Wonders. Great. Then I'm talking, and what am I talking about? I'm literally talking about the denotations and connotations, which we learned yesterday, of the word junkyard. So in other words, why did she choose to refer to her book as The Junkyard Wonders, and ultimately why does she connect these kids to the junkyard? Okay, so the idea of a junkyard, we talked about it on Monday, is not necessarily a good thing. Junk is something usually people, their connotation, their response to it is negative, that it's a bad thing. Okay, so why would an author choose that? So that's really what this question is asking me. And I need to make sure to use evidence. Okay, so I have a pretty good understanding now what I need to do. I need to write an essay. I need to explain why Patricia Polacco chose to call the book Junkyard Wonders. I need to make reference to the denotation and connotations of the word junkyard. Great. So I'm going to get in, and I'm going to start writing. I'm going to do it in red just because I think it's easier. Okay, and I'll make my text a little bit bigger so you can see it. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my TTQA. So I'm going to flip my question around. Why does Patricia Polacco choose to call the book Junkyard Wonders? So I'm going to flip it around. Patricia Polacco chose to call the book The Junkyard Wonders because. So all I did there is I flipped it around. Now, I'm going to think to myself, why did she choose to call it that? Okay, so I think that Patricia Polacco chose to call it The Junkyard Wonders because all of these students have been thrown away or discarded, which is another way to say thrown away by society. No one wants them. However, when they are together, they do amazing things and create wonders, okay, like the airplane. So that is my 2-sentence answer. Remember I said when you're doing this, very often you're probably going to have more than one sentence in this box. Sometimes those sentences are going to be full sentences. Sometimes as you get to learn the boxes and bullets, you might just do a few. Okay, so now I'm on to my bullet section, right? And in my bullet section now, what I need to do is I need to go back to my reading, and I need to find at least 3 pieces of evidence that talk to me about why Patricia Polacco chose the term junkyard. So I'm going to go back to that reading, and I'm really going to be looking for why did Patricia Polacco choose it. So I'm going to lift my evidence. So I've already read this text a few times, so I kind of know why Patricia Polacco is choosing that, okay? And I'm going to choose these quotes over here. So for me, I'm going to choose this quote right here, okay? Because it talks about the wondrous possibilities. Actually, I'm going to choose this one up here because it references Junkyard. So I'm going to Control C to get it where I need it. I'm going to go back to my boxes and bullets. Okay, I'm going to put it down where I need it to be. Again, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that the font color is red so it kind of jumps out a little bit at you. And then I'm just going to go back and I'm going to find another quote. Okay, I've already read this text a number of times, so I'm really familiar with the texts and what I want to choose. Okay, but for you guys, this is something you definitely want to do before you start reading. And so you want to make sure before you start reading that you know what those quotes are. And so when we're doing the boxes and bullets format, that's a really good time to be kind of looking for those quotes and organizing them before you start writing. Because if you wait until you start writing, you're going to run a risk that you might forget what you wanted to say. You might get distracted. You know, a lot of things can happen. So having those quotes ready before you start writing is a really good practice for writers to have. And making sure that we have enough quotes. So that'll tell us if we can't find them. That'll tell us, hey, listen, okay, maybe we didn't know it as well as we needed to. All right, so I'm just looking for the last one that I want to include. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. All right. Let's see. See, this is what happens if you don't mark up the text. You lose exactly where your quote is. So that is the one I used before. All right. There was the quote I wanted, right there. Okay. So I went past it when I went through first time. So I'm going to put it in there. And I have all three of my quotes. Now, I read this a few more times than you, so I had a pretty good idea what quotes I wanted to include. But essentially, I've got my three quotes that support what I'm saying in this upper box up here. Now for my last box and your last boxes, this is where you want to explain these quotes. You want to explain how your evidence connects back to what's in that first box. Okay, I'm just trying to bring this up so you guys have it on one page. Okay, so let me see if I can click it and drag it on up. There we go. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to connect it all. So this last box is your explain. Okay, so I'm going to go back, I'm going to reread my topic sentence, and I'm going to look to explain. So Patricia Polacco chose to call the book Junkyard Wonders because all of the students have been thrown away or discarded by society. No one wants them. However, when they are together, they do amazing things. Let me just correct that. Okay, they do amazing things and create wonders. Okay, I am going to explain it. Knew that people would think of junk and junkyards as a bad thing. Just like the other children in the story think that these students being different is a bad thing. Through the story, Polacco, the author, shows that sometimes junk or unexpected anything can be amazing. Okay, so there is my answer to that question. I'm pulling all my evidence together, and that is a boxes and bullets format. That is what it would look like. And now all I'd have to do is, as I'm working my way through my essay, I'd have to make sure that I have a few more points in there, that I'm introducing each piece of evidence, that I'm explaining each piece of evidence point by point. But I'm pretty well ready to write at this point. So let's get you into your boxes and bullets.